Greetings, students. I want to look at a follow-up of the a topic we'll be talking about, which is a tissue. And in today's class, we're going to be talking about the muscular tissue. Don't forget that we've talked about the tissue in details and given a description of the other types of tissues, such as the epithelial tissue, the connective tissue, and now we want to briefly look at the muscular tissue. The muscular tissue is a very important tissue in the body because of the role that it performs. It performs a very peculiar role that no other tissue can perform. This muscular tissue is made up of a long, excitable cells that are fully capable of contraction. So the major characteristics of members of the cells that make up this tissue is the fact that they sustain the ability for contraction. And they're also made up of microfilament. And this microfilament, I mean the cells, the muscular cells, are made up of the microfilament. And these microfilaments are usually arranged in parallel within the cytoplasm of the muscle cells. And of course, don't forget that this microfilament in question is a construction out of the three constructions we have in the cytoskeleton. And the cytoskeleton, which we describe as the skeleton of the cell, when we talk about the cell organelles, we mentioned the three different types of fibers that are constructed from the cytoskeleton: the microfilament, the intermediate filament, and the microtubule. So the microfilament is part of the muscle cells. You see it within the and of course it's made up of two different kinds of proteins, the actin and the myosin. I hope you remember the actin and the myosin are the two different components, two different proteins that make up the microfilament that is found within the muscle cells, within the cytoplasm of the muscle cells. Now we have three different types of cells within the muscle, or muscular cells. The muscle cells. We have three different types of cells. We have the first one, which is called the skeletal muscle. The skeletal muscle. This one is one major thing you have to know about this one is that it's a kind of helps in the movement of the joint through its strong contraction. That is where you find its function within the joint, and it is multinucleated. It is multinucleated, the skeletal the skeletal muscle. It is also called the striated muscle because of its appearance. It is stated that it's concentrated because of the arrangement of the overlapping filament. These are the overlapping filament that gives a stripped appearance under the microscope. So under the microscope, if you are looking at this skeletal muscle under the microscope, it has a stripped appearance or striations. That stripped appearance is also called striations. That means that it's a kind of a alternate between light and dark band, BAND. If you're familiar with gel electrophoresis, you know what a band is, or familiar with the use of microscope. So it's these filaments a kind of alternate between light and uh, and uh, and dark bands. So that is why it is said to have a stripped appearance under the microscope, or striations. Remember, I've said it is multi-nucleated, and I've also mentioned where they are found within the body. The next one is the smooth muscle. The smooth muscle, of course, is made up of a single cell that is made up of cells that have a single nucleus. Sorry, they made up of cells that have single nucleus, and the actual location where you see the smooth muscle is within the vein, that's the blood vessels, and even the bladder. The digestive tract, you can also see them within the digestive tract. Digestive tract, that is where you see the smooth muscle. The cardiac muscle is the last one. The cardiac muscle is a kind of intermediate between the smooth and the skeletal muscle. And the cardiac muscle is also, uh, in fact, as a matter of fact, the cardiac muscle can be uninucleated and can also be binucleated. Sometimes it's discovered that the cells have two different nuclei. Then sometimes they have they have one nucleus. Sometimes they have two nuclei. Sometimes they have one nucleus. Okay, but one peculiar characteristic of the cardiac muscle is the fact that they sustain the ability to generate electricity, which controls the heartbeat. Of course, the heartbeat is controlled by the electricity that is generated within the heart. So that's the function of the cardiac muscle. And that is why if there's any issue within the cardiac muscle, then you discover that it strongly affects the the beating of the heart, the heartbeat, and the person may end up having a cardiac problem. So these are the three different types of muscles, and that will signal the end of the muscular tissue. The last aspect of the tissue which we're going to be talking about will be the nervous tissue. The nervous tissue. I want you to be part of it when next we talk about it. Mm. Help me share this video. Tell other medical students and biological students, not just medical students, biological students that have something to do with biology, tissue, cells, and the rest of them and other medical terms. It will be very useful to them. See you in my next class.